Well, here it is, my Sprinter that I'm selling. What I'll probably do is take you around the inside first, explain what everything is, why I've done it like it is, how it all works, and then we'll do the outside and the cab. Moving on in, what I've decided to do is put a fixed bed at the back, and where the rear panels and the side of the van is, I have recessed the wood so that I can fit in the bed properly, and I'm 6 foot tall. There is still insulation behind there, but a slightly thinner layer. Mattress is, I think it's 5 inches thick. I had it made, it's from three different layers of foam. You got your harder foam, your medium foam, and then a bit of memory foam on top, and it is super comfy. I absolutely love it. And under here we've got, let's pull back the curtain, basic garage space. Those drawers, they're only screwed in, so if you don't like them you can get rid of them, but I find them pretty handy. They were, I can't remember where I got them from actually. This is super handy. I love this. It does give me a lot of confidence with my valuables, and what I've done is I drilled holes, 4 holes in the van from underneath, and I put the bolts up through, and then I screwed them down from inside. So if I open it up, yeah, you can see you've got your nut there, so you can't undo it. And the bolt on the other side, it doesn't have a thread for a screwdriver, and also the water tank is covering it anyway, so there's absolutely no way that anybody is going to be getting into that. And kitchen is down the side here. Got these shelves up, which I'm using for my spices, and some other bits and pieces, with a sink and running water. And this gas oven this is great actually. It's got a grill up the top as well, and it runs on LPG. I'll explain more about that in a bit, but I mainly use that for baking cakes and loaves of bread. Plenty of storage space in here for well, kitchen goods. And underneath it I've made a little cupboard for storing all my pots and pans. Curtain's caught up. 3 drawers here, handy little drawers for whatever you want. There's not much in them at the moment because I'm not actually using the van, because I'm at home, so I don't need to use it. And the fridge, which is pretty good. It's got a little freezer compartment as well, and that is capable of doing ice cubes if you've got them laying down on the shelf here, which I like for gin and tonics. And for the kitchen, that's about it really. It's kind of, wow, what do you say about a kitchen? Yeah, there you go. It's made from wood. Now, I've obviously designed this van with me in mind, and I've done it just how I like it, because when I was looking for vans initially, I was going to buy one and just already kitted out, but I couldn't find anything that I liked. And there's a lot of really lovely modern looking vans on the market, really sort of shiny and contemporary, but that wasn't really my thing. I like the rustic feel, so I used a load of wood. I've used wood for the walls and the ceiling and the floor, and I've built the kitchen from wood as well, and I painted the ceiling white because it makes it feel a bit more airy. And that's the point, by the way. I'm 6 foot tall, and like, if I stand on tiptoes, I just about headbutt it. So I'm guessing there's about 6 foot 3 or 4 from the floor to the ground. So and I've got shoes on as well. So tall people, you're going to be all right in here. I just like how cosy the wood makes it feel, to be honest. Whether it is cold outside and I've got the wood burner going, or whether it's hot like it is here and I've got all the doors open, it feels like a home rather than a van, which I really like. Now the sofa. Let's talk about this. It pulls out into another double bed, and I'll show you that in a moment. And under here, pull the cushions back a bit. It also lifts up, and you've got more storage space. There we go. Take the cushions off, and much better idea. This is a decent sized space actually, and Here at the back we've got all the electrical cables coming from power control down there, and they're all what they do is they go through this hole and they distribute around the rest of the van. And here is a small subwoofer because I really like listening to music, and at the back I've got these two speakers on either side which are good, but I just wanted a rounder sound which picks up more bass, and this is really good actually. The sound in here is lovely when that's going. And here it is pulled out into the second bed. Those cushions can be moved out of the way, put in the front, or maybe on the shelf up there. Now these curtains, these are really good actually. They were made by a friend of mine who is a very talented seamstress. She's done a really good job, and they've got thermal lining inside. So they act as insulation over the window, which makes a big difference. It does help to keep it nice and toasty in here. And sometimes in the summer actually, if the sun is shining in through the window, I will close them to keep the heat out. That window does actually also open, which is nice to sit on the sofa and read a book or something and admire the view, which is currently the river. My friend also made these cushion covers as well to size, so they fit perfectly. And on the topic of curtains, these ones at the back as well are exactly the same as the ones at the front. They are handmade thermal lined curtains, so protecting from the cold of the rear windows here, and they do a really good job. I just realised I forgot to do a bit of filming when I got to this part of the edit, and I was looking for information on the insulation. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to go and do that. So, and it is worth talking about because it is really well done. Even though I say so myself, I really went to town on insulation because I wanted this to be well, very well done. So what I've got on the floor underneath the oak flooring here is, it's made by a company called YBS, and it's called Super Quilt. It's mainly meant for houses, for roofing and lofts and inside of wall cavities and things like that. Check it out, it's really good. I've used that on the floor. On the walls I've used 50mm Celotex panels, which I've cut to shape, and I have covered that completely with another one by YBS, which is like multi-layer foil insulation. So so if you were to take the paneling off and look behind it, you'd see the YBS foil insulation first, followed by the Celotex underneath it. And in the roof I've started with some of the, you know, like the silver foil bubble wrap. Then I've put a layer about that thick of sheep's wool insulation, and then underneath that I've put another layer of the silver foil bubble wrap, so it's 3 layers, and that is super good at reflecting the heat of the sun in the summer, and also keeping the warmth of this inside of the van in the winter. And I've put sheep's wool insulation and the foil bubble wrap in the bulkhead, because the cab does get very hot in the sunshine. You like pull this back and poke your head through, it feels like a sauna. So I wanted to keep the heat out of the back of the van. And what else? Oh yeah, for the bits and pieces I couldn't get to, I've used expanding foam, which has done a great job. You spray it in, yeah, so it's I mean it's not really necessary. I could have got away with doing much less, but it's also the sheep's wool is really good for soundproofing the van, which is great. So once you're inside and once the doors are shut, it's kind of like a little recording studio actually. It's really nice. Now this is where it looks like it starts getting confusing, but it's actually quite simple when it's broken down. I've got my 2 leisure batteries here. These are, what are they? They are 119 amp hours each, and I've got 2 of those, so they're like 238 amp hours of battery power there. And I've got a 285 watt solar panel on the roof. Now that comes down into this charge controller. During the day when the sun is out, that splits the current and it charges the batteries, and it also sends power directly to all the appliances, so the fridge, the charger, the lights, the fan and everything, through this fuse box. All the appliances are attached to this fuse box, and then they fan out to wherever they are. I have a 1000 continuous watt 2000 peak pure sine wave inverter for 240 volt electric appliances. I mainly use my NutriBullet for making smoothies and hummus and things like that. What else have we got here? We've got the split charge relay. So these batteries are charged from the main starter battery of the van when driving, but also what this thing does is when the sun's out and these batteries are charging, the main starter battery also charges, which is quite handy actually. So in sunny weather you're never going to have a flat battery. However, if for whatever reason the main battery in the van becomes faulty, which I actually had with my previous battery, then you can jump it from these, because these are dual purpose. They are leisure deep cycle batteries, but you can also use them for starting vehicles. So I found that quite handy, because if you've got some jump leads in the back, you don't need another vehicle, because, and let me show you this, the battery for the van is just under here. So the jump leads reach from one side to the other. This here is an audio amplifier for my speakers at the back and my subwoofer, and I've got an audio cable here coming out which you can plug your phone or your iPod or whatever you want into it, and that's under the sofa somewhere. Now on this fuse box there are actually 6 more terminals underneath if you want to add any more appliances to this side of the van, and what I have done over here at the back of the van is added another smaller fuse box which also has 6 terminals on it, and that will basically, that just means that if you want to put anything else in the back of the van you don't have to run a cable all the way to the front, you can just come here. Now I've got my USB charging socket and the water pump and 1 or 2 other bits and pieces coming out of here, which makes life easier. It means shorter cable runs, less voltage drop. This is a useful bit of kit here for keeping track on what the batteries are doing. Currently it's saying the sun is giving the batteries 34.1 volts, and the batteries have a capacity of 13.9 volts to give off, which is really good, and we're currently drawing 1.6 amps of power because the lights are on. So the 8 LED spots in the ceiling, when they're turned on, they draw 1.6. If I, for example, turn on the fan, one moment, you should see that shoot up a bit. He says, yeah, there we go, 2 amps, and then turn it right up. 5.7 amps. As you've probably noticed already, I've kept Windows minimum in the van because I wanted to keep insulation high. So for the 2 in the rear doors and the 1 on the side, I've got these curtains. But I've also put 2 in the roof. I've got 1 here and I've got 1 the other end above the bed. Now this one has a fan in it and that one doesn't, and the purpose of that is what I do is I have this one sucking, like if all the doors are shut, for example, on a cold day and I'm cooking down this end of the van, I have both the roof windows open and I have this one pulling air out, which then naturally drags air in, fresh air from that window over there, and it keeps a cycle going. So the smell from the food goes up and out, and then the fresh air comes in and takes it away from that end of the van. And I've found it to be really effective actually. Well, sometimes even if it's really hot at night, what I'll do is I'll do the same. So then I'll be sleeping and I'll have the air coming down there above me on the bed, and then the cooler and then hot air going out there, which I've found to be really effective, and I like that system a lot. Little demo, turn it on. It's that's its lowest setting, and you can go really, really high as well. The proper extractor, that is. And you can change the direction as well and have it blowing in. Yeah. Well, so you've probably noticed this. These are just fairy lights. I quite like them. The sort of the wire with the LED. They give a nice warm glow. And I've also got this here, which is a control for, you probably can't see it in this light, but I've got a strip going up one side and down the other side, and it gives like multicolored lights, and it's got various modes and whatnot, so you can create different moods. Maybe I'll come back when it's dark and give you a better view. No view of a van would be complete without seeing the inside of the side door shut, and once again we've got more wood. And what I've got up here actually are some magnets. I've got a few of them dotted around the place, so I like to hang my coat up there after a walk if it's damp and I've got the burner going, and it dries really quickly. Now this here really is my favourite thing without a doubt in the van. This is, for me, it's what separates my van from every van that doesn't have a wood burner basically, and I absolutely love it. It's just, it is so cozy. It gets like a sauna in here actually. What I've done actually, I've got this clever little thing down here, because now obviously this draws air in up out the flue, so you need to have air coming into the van, and if it's really cold you're not going to want the windows open. So I've drilled a hole in the bulkhead and I've put this vent in. This is connected to some ducting, which then goes to another vent in the ground. So as the air pressure inside the van drops because air is being sucked out, naturally fresh air is drawn in through here. And what that then does is it keeps oxygen in the van, but I've got this protective sheet here. Is that air kind of goes in between this bit of metal and this wood, and that keeps this surprisingly cool. This can be like hundreds of degrees in temperature and you can still put your hand on the back like that. That is how efficient that system is. It works really well. It's only a small bit of stainless steel, but it does the job an absolute treat. And I guess you're probably wondering, well, how come you don't set fire to the sofa? Now that is a good question, and bear with me one moment. Ta-da! I've got another bit of stainless steel here which slots into a bracket that I've put on the ground, and that just prevents the sofa from heating up. Now it doesn't look much, but that is really all you need. It does a fantastic job. None of the wood gets hot, and all the heat is reflected from this metal back into the van. And up here, what I've done behind here is there's no insulation, so this is just dead space. So when the flue heats up, it heats up the air in here, but obviously there's no insulation to burn. And there we've got the little rain cap on top. I'd really like to light this and show you how cozy it is, but I can't because I'm in Portugal, which is where I live, and they have a strict no fire rule throughout the summertime because of the wild bushfires here. So that's going to have to stay unlit, unfortunately for now, but I'm sure when I come back to England, if anybody wants to come and have a look at the van, then I can show you how it works then, and how efficient it is. Also, it's like 35 degrees, so it seems a bit silly to light a fire in that temperature. What else? Light switch, this one's spare, so if you want to put any more lights in, then spare socket there. Hooks for hanging your tea towels or whatever. Ah yes, this. You're probably wondering what this is. Once again, handmade thermal lining from my friend, but what this does is basically I wanted to leave a gap between here and the cab, and the reason for that is, well, there's two reasons. First of all is if I park up somewhere and it's absolutely peeing down with rain and I don't want to get wet, I can climb through from the back. Now, admittedly, it's a tight squeeze, but I have done it and it is possible. And secondly, it's for security, really. If I'm parked up somewhere at night, or the idea was if I'm parked up somewhere at night and it turns out I'm not supposed to be there, and I get an angry farmer or something knocking on the door, then I don't have to get out and confront angry farmer and then drive off. I can just climb straight through and be on my way. But having said that, in like the 3 years of travelling around in this van, I haven't been told to move on once. It's been absolutely fine, so I haven't needed to use it for that reason. But, you know, it's there for if that did ever arise, that situation. And it does fold up. Just, in fact, it comes away completely. It's just Velcro. And here's another perspective of what it looks like from the back. Oh yeah, I've got a little USB charging socket here. Oh, and these are the copper wire fairy lights that I was on about plug them in there, and ta-da! Now, in terms of this garage space, I love cycling, so what I've done is I've put this axle here so I can take the front wheel off my bike, put the forks on like that, and my bike stands up neatly under the bed here. And shower and toilet. Now, this is a big one for a lot of people. I often get asked about shower and toilet. Now, I'm sure if you're watching this video and you're looking at buying this van, you've probably already made up your own mind. But my theory is this: if you're staying in a campsite, which I never do, facilities are going to be there. If you're wild camping out in nature, which I do, then there's either always a river, a lake, or an ocean, which I can go swimming in. So it's really no big deal. However, for the odd few occasions when, I don't know, you might be at a festival or you might be parked in a city or something like that, what I have is this. Now, I will include these in the van, but these are more than adequate. I've got a porta potty there, which has got quite a decent capacity. And this thing, this is amazing. I love this. It's a solar shower. You fill it with water, pump it up, leave it in the sun for a bit, and or if it's cold, you know, just put some, boil the kettle, and it's got some air coming out, and it's really effective. And what I do for a bit of privacy, if there's loads of people around, is I put the magnets there and there, and hang up a sheet, and you know, you got your own shower cubicle. So for me, it's never been a problem. To be honest with you, I don't even really use that thing, or the shower. But I know that that's a very personal choice. For some people, you know, if you really want a bathroom in the van, fair play. Maybe this isn't the van for you, but I've never had a problem with it. Right, I guess we should talk about the mechanics of the van itself. And this particular model of Sprinter is the 313. It was made in 2013. It's got a full service history. When I bought it from the dealer, it had a full Mercedes-Benz registered history, and since then I've had it serviced each year at Devon Motorhomes in down near Torquay, and they've done a great job on it actually. And so, I mean, if you want any more information on it, then I'm sure they'd be happy to talk to you. But the most recent thing it's had done is new rear brake discs and pads, and not so long ago it had the the fuel filter, and then not so long ago it had an oil change, oil filter, air filter, pollen filter, and all the standard things for a service. Cosmetically, I'd say it's in very good condition. It doesn't look like it's just rolled off of the showroom floor, but then it is 7 years old. I think the most noticeable thing is a slight dent up there, which I did, that was my fault, 2 years ago, and it hasn't gone through the top coat. It's cosmetic, so no rust has started forming. And on the sides there's a couple of sort of hairline scratches here and there, which have only penetrated the top coat. They haven't gone through to the paint. But you know, on the whole, it's well, I mean, as you can see, it looks like a shiny van really. It's I'd say for 7 years old, it's good. Yes, I said I'd talk about the water and gas tanks. So this is the tap for the freshwater tank, which, oh yeah, it's open, it's empty, there's nothing in it at the moment. That's right, because I haven't been using it. Now under here is this here is the freshwater tank. That is 70 litres. Now remember I was telling you about the bolts that went through the bottom of the van into the safe? Well, they are above that tank. So that's kind of how secure that safe is. But that's where the tank is. Now on the other side, around here, we have the the grey water tank, which is 35 litres. And that is, here's the tap for that there to empty that. And actually, I don't need to go any other side. You can kind of see it from here. That thing there, that red thing that looks like a torpedo, that is the gas tank. Now, that holds the LPG, and that is refillable. Now that tank is massive. It's been on the van for maybe 2.5 years, and I've had to refill it twice. It holds so much gas, way more than the ones that you put inside the van, and to refill it is dead easy. Down here I've put in a little thing, and you pull up to your auto gas in the petrol station, and you just plonk it in and away you go. And I also have some European adapters as well, because in some countries they're a bit different to in the UK, but to be honest with you, if you fill up in the UK before you go away, you're going to be absolutely fine. Like, a tank in there lasts for about a year for me. Now moving on here, we've got Barney. He keeps me company when I'm on the road on my own. And I mean, what have I done here? I've put in this aftermarket stereo by Pioneer, and basically that's just so as I can listen to my Spotify playlist from my phone by Bluetooth or SoundCloud or whatever else. And also I've put in that mic there, so there's hands-free audio for making phone calls whilst on the move, if you're someone that likes to talk a lot. Starts first time every time, but then you would expect it to for a 7-year-old vehicle. There we go, lovely old job. That was started on cold, as you can see by the temperature. However, it really isn't cold here. It's only 26.5 degrees today. That's the coolest it's been here in about a month. Mind you, it is 20 to 8, but yeah. Actually, oh yeah, 103,433. So I guess by the time I get back to the UK, that's going to have 105,000 on it or something like that. Also put in some reversing sensors, which are really handy. There's the little thing here, but to be honest with you, I don't use that. I just listen to the noise when it tells me that I'm about to hit something, and it is very effective. It has prevented me from reversing into many objects on many occasions. So yeah, one of the most common questions I get asked, so I may as well include it in this video, is why are you selling the van? And the honest answer is, I don't want to sell the van. I'm selling it due to COVID. I work in the entertainment industry, I film music gigs, and I go on tour with bands. And my industry is completely on its knees at the moment. It looks like I'm going to be out of work for a very long time. So with having just made the move to Portugal, I kind of need a bit of an income, so I'm getting rid of the van. If it wasn't for that, I definitely wouldn't be getting rid of it, because I love it so much, and I've put so much time and energy into turning it into what it is. So although I do need to sell it, I'm not going to be I want it to go to a good home, you know, so somebody who's really going to use it and appreciate it for what it is. I mean, you can live in it. It's got everything you need, really, not just for going on holidays, although holidays are great as well, of course. But yeah, whoever buys it, I hope it brings you as much pleasure and satisfaction as it has for me, because I absolutely love it.